What up, world? It's your boy Chuck Wick, aka Challz Brown, back again for another Talking Facts. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you can get notified on all the upcoming episodes. All right, man, your boy Nas, Nasty Nas. Nas has come forward. He was on a podcast called The Bridge, 50 Years of Hip Hop, that I got to start watching. I didn't even know about this until I seen this excerpt from his show. And he was talking to young Jeezy, saying Jeezy was like a little upset back then when Nas dropped Hip Hop Is Dead. I don't know if you remember that, when Nas dropped Hip Hop Is Dead, and a lot of people got their panties in a bunch, because if you was a real hip hop head, you were saying that way before that album came out, that Hip Hop Is Dead. We were saying Hip Hop Is Dead for years. Nas just put that into words and put it into an album title. But we was always saying hip hop been dead. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even though we felt like that, we knew that wasn't real. We just said it as it was almost like some people that really was into hip hop was like a cliche. You said it, y'all agreed, y'all nodded your head, but you felt that your hip hop you was doing wasn't dead, and you knew that the people you love was still coming out. They were still dropping music and this and that, but you didn't respect a lot of stuff that came on, especially a lot of stuff that was very trap and very, it wasn't that much Southern stuff, a lot of West Coast stuff, that just a lot of stuff that people thought wasn't pure hip hop. It changed. It was gangster rap and trap rap and all this stuff. It wasn't hip hop. So we were saying hip hop is dead way before anybody heard Nas say hip hop was dead, right? But Nas came out with that album, Hip Hop Is Dead, and he was saying, because Jeezy was talking about how upset he got about the album, which a lot of rappers at the time did get upset, but some dudes made little comments to Nas on their stuff. But what happened with Nas, he said, he came out on this podcast and was like, he basically saying, I made that, I was talking about New York rappers. And it kind of almost goes without saying that he was talking about New York rappers, because people from out of other states wasn't really claiming to be hip hop, to be honest with you. A lot of people was just rapping. A lot of people were just rappers. A lot of people were just rappers, bro. And a lot of people was ex-gangbangers, ex-drug dealers, hustlers, pimps. At a time, bro, if you rewind, if you really, really follow this culture like I did, at one point in time, I want to say late 90s, right? Late 90s into early 2000s, 2001, 2003, 06, that little stretch, man, it became all drug dealer labels, all drug dealer rappers with chains. Like, you had to be a drug dealer just to even be a CEO. It wasn't no CEOs that weren't quote unquote former drug dealers, right? Let's just keep it a buck. It wasn't no CEOs that wasn't already quote unquote millionaires from crack before they, or dope or weed before they put out one artist. And it's people in the game right now that was that ex-drug dealer, that ex-con man, that ex-this and that, just a criminal, right? And the rap reflected it. A lot of the artists was just, look at Jeezy. Everybody loved Jeezy, right? But Jeezy the snowman. T.H.E was the rubber band man. You know what I'm saying? I can go on and on. Young Gotti, all those, this was hustler music. Jay-Z came out, and at some point, Jay-Z and Biggie and all it went from gangster rap with Eazy-E and Dre. It went from gangster rap to hustler rap and just criminal rap, which is whatever. I like a lot of hard rap. I like hard rap. It's not a knock on hard rap, but it is telling you the facts that at one point nobody was going around calling themselves hip hoppers. Nobody. So who are you talking about? If you're saying hip hop is dead, if everybody going around they drug dealers and hustlers and pimps and hoes and this and that, you could only be talking to the real MCs. And the real MCs supposedly was out of New York City. It was out of New York. So you had to be talking to New York rappers. But a lot of people took offense because a lot of people lumped themselves as hip hop that we clearly didn't agree. If you were from hip hop from my era, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, that 10-year stretch, or even earlier, 80, 85, 86, that little 15 year stretch, hip hop, it meant something. MC Light, De La Soul, freaking Tribe Called Quest, Busta Rhymes. It meant something. It was different. Black Sheep, right? EST, 3 Times Dope, Steady B, KRS-One, Black Thought, The Roots. Like, it was different. Cannabis, Wyclef, The Fugees. It was different. It had a different feeling. Big Pun, right? It had a different feeling, right? And even a couple groups from down south, we considered them hip-hop. We considered Cass, Outkast hip-hop. We considered that hip-hop. Arrested Development, we considered that hip-hop. Hieroglyphics, we considered them over in Cali hip-hop. Chino XL, Exhibit, Alcoholics, just a lot of hip-hop. King T. We considered a lot of people hip-hop because that's what we was accustomed to. But as it grew and grew and grew, it became something else, and then we started sectioning it off. It wasn't all hip hop no more, right? So when he said hip hop is dead, we were going back to the essence, and he didn't even really need to explain that. But apparently, people like Young Jeezy thought we considered them hip hop. I never thought Young Jeezy was hip hop, never, not even close, not even one time. Young Jeezy came from a label that was a crack crew. They were dope dealers who put mad money into dealing, who put mad money into the industry, paid for their hits to get played, and blew up from throwing mad money into the game. And not, let alone the fear factor, people scared to not rock with them, right? So that's not hip, to me, that's not hip hop. Being able to throw a bunch of money and get in, well, yeah, Jeezy made good records and the streets loved them, but to us, it wasn't hip hop, right? So I don't know why Jeezy would take offense to that. And I said, no knock to Jeezy. I like Jeezy. I'd be rooting for Jeezy. Jeezy, like, every time Jeezy drop, I rock with Jeezy. And when people be dissing Jeezy, like Freddie Gibbs and it's a couple other people don't rock with him, Gucci, I don't condone that. I'm thinking we got to move forward instead of looking back 10 years and still going at this man. So it's not about me not liking Jeezy, but it is the fact that we never looked at Jeezy as hip hop. So it's strange that Jeezy would take offense to that line. I'm sure in his mind, he's like, oh, I'm hip hop as anybody else. But hip hop heads didn't look at Jeezy as hip hop, right? We just didn't. We didn't look at Jeezy, Gucci. None of that stuff was hip hop to us. All that icy stuff, it wasn't hip hop. It was rap. But Nas explained that this was more so for the New York heads who was into hip hop, and that's who really wanted to hear that album anyway. And that's who really only got it. A lot of people didn't even get that album. They didn't understand it. It went over their head. They thought that Nas was crazy. They thought Nas was losing his mind. For a while there, it looked like Nas was losing his mind. But he was staying so true to the culture that a lot of people couldn't relate to it. And therefore, Hip Hop is Dead became what it became, right? Hip Hop is Dead it's not one of his best albums, it's not one of his worst albums, but it's one of his albums that opened a lot of people's eyes or just because of the title. I can remember a lot of people was mad at that. It wasn't just Jeezy, it wasn't just a couple guys here and there. It was a lot of rappers took offense to Nas saying hip hop is dead. Even real hip hop heads took offense to it. But if you was a real hip hop head, you was like, finally, let's get it back. And you can go back to them eras where it's like the realness about to come back. It was saying it every year, real rap about to come back, real hip hop about to come back. And it really never left, but right now, it's bigger than ever, right? As far as you can actually say something now. You can drop some lyrics right now, right? So that's what they were saying when they say hip hop is dead. It never died, but it left vogue. It was out of fashion. It was out of the mainstream. And that was what it was. So I don't know why Jeezy took offense. But at that note, I'm going to let y'all get me in the comments. Let me know what you think. Is Jeezy hip-hop? Was hip-hop ever dead? Should Nas be taking the task for even saying hip-hop is dead? Did he just throw salt in the game that he ain't had no right to speak on? Let me know what you think in the comments, man. CLBMG.com. Follow your boy's social media. I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.